Joe. Congratulations on this very sweet film, Joe, which I know you came to quite late in pre-production. Were you able to form a backstory for Marco right off the page? Was he a man you recognized?
Yeah, you know, when I agreed to do the film and didn't have much time, I think we had like 2 weeks before we started, and I told Sean Christera, our director, that because of the lack of time, I was going to make it a documentary, because there was a lot of behavior, and having gone through a lot of what Marco goes through in my own life, I thought there was a lot of similarities there that I could use my own history in the movie, and having a sense of humor about it.
Well, that leads straight into my next question. As a first generation Italian American, did you see in Marco any similarities regarding your connection to Italy, to the homeland?
Well, I'm actually second generation.
Oh, sorry, second generation.
So you know, I always describe myself as an American of Italian descent.
Sure.
And what was interesting is that the movie is based on a book, Finding Marco. Ken Conchera wrote. He's also the executive producer on this. So it was about a guy who immigrated to Canada when he's 10 years old and then comes back. Well, I'm from New York area, and I thought, having spent a lot of time in Canada, that the really interesting thing about Canada is that they welcome your history and your heritage. They encourage you to maintain your language. So when you're in the big cities in Canada, you have all these different dialects going on. And if you're in the Italian section or the Chinese section or the Greek section or the Croatian section, those languages, they live on. But in America, you're discouraged. And can you hear my dogs?
I can, and as a small dog owner myself, I love little dogs, so that's fine.
Yeah, well, I'm a small dog owner, but I have 5 of them. And I've got these on and I can hear them.
They're enjoying they're enjoying the beautiful summer weather outside, I can see.
Actually, it's raining all day. It just popped out. It's fantastic.
Nice.
But I was, as I was saying, the idea of being ridiculed in America for your language or your accents is something that I wanted to convey in this movie, and they agreed that we would make him somebody who grew up in New York and then fell in love and wound up immigrating to Canada as a young boy, as a young man.
You came off shooting From the Vine, and if I understand it, Bobby Moresco's play Drift didn't happen because of COVID, but that was also a play that sort of examines the immigration experience, albeit from a darker perspective. These themes of heritage and legacy, they seem particularly important to you right now, or is this more coincidental?
To me, it's very important because of what's happening in my country. You know, it's more of an autocracy. You know, America in a lot of ways is starting to look more and more like Russia. You know, with the news of the Justice Department investigating and tapping phone lines of media and congressmen. You know, so it's like a minority rule. So it's anti-democratic, and democracy is starting to turn into this minority rule billionaire club that is controlled by, you know, 40 or 50 Americans, and it's coming to a head. So what I love about from the Vine is that this is a guy that is lost. He's trying to find himself and losing everything for the sake of being rich and a big time lawyer who runs an automobile company, and then kind of hits the wall and starts seeing things and hearing things, and he's losing his mind. And his wife and daughter come to bail themselves out, to throw a net over him before he goes through the family jewels with this lame brain idea that he has about growing wine, having no experience in doing so.
I think it's
they
important
find
that-
out.
Sorry, go ahead.
So that they find out the simpler things in life really are what matter.
Yeah, and I think most importantly, this isn't a selfish crusade for Marco. It's not a midlife crisis, as he says in the film. It's an act of honor. There's a goodness about Marco that's not that common in your film and TV characters. Was it nice playing it a bit sweeter?
Yeah, it was. It's more like who I am. People when people meet me, I mean, fans meet me, they think that I'm the characters that I play, and so this afforded me the ability to really show my foibles and the chinks in my own armor that represent a lot of what Marco was going through, and I think a lot of people my age go through.
After all those years stealing scenes from your co-stars, you're thrown a challenge by Marco Leonardi, who's terrific as Luca. Tell us something about shooting in Aciarenza and working with the Italian cast and crew.
Well, Marco is just beautiful and brilliant and simpatico, and I just love working with him. And there were three people that were legit Italian actors in that picture. The rest were Canadian, and all of the townspeople were locals. So it was like being in a Visconti movie.
That's a dream. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, well, it was. I mean, Sean did a great job. It was just romantic and beautiful, and I was just, it was a magical, whimsical, like the movie itself. I guess the spirit of this movie had its own idea, the kind of movie it wanted to make, and we just got out of its way.
Joe, I want to spend a moment talking about your No Kidding Me Too charity. It's a cause that's significant to me and I know means a great deal to you. What are its aims and how is the organization achieving them?
Just to encourage people, to encourage those who struggle with emotional distress and disease, to let them know that it's not just them. Most everyone is going through something at some point, and that they shouldn't be afraid to ask for help, to be able to become more productive members of society. That the idea is to talk about your feelings, and in talking about what you're going through, you discover that a lot of people feel just like you. My daughter, Daniela, my middle daughter, I have three daughters and my son, Marco. But we started a podcast called No Kidding Me Too that we're doing here in the States. And it's been terrific because we're reaching out to, high profile celebrities, talking about their lives and how they cope with the momentary distress that life throws at you. And so, and I think you can see the documentary we made, No Kidding Me Too, in Australia also on Amazon or Google.
we'll definitely be checking it out. It's a wonderful cause, and I want to thank you for bringing it to the fore, to making it more apparent to everyone. If you'll indulge me a couple of time machine moments, Joe. First of all, I'd go back to 2003 and watch you opposite Rosie Perez in Frankie and Johnny in the Claire de Lune. Why was your Broadway leading man debut so long coming?
Well, I couldn't get a job.
I asked that question to actors quite a bit, and that's generally the answer I get.
Yeah, it was the kind of overnight success that took about 30 years.
But wonderful.
But
memories.
I was glad for the opportunity. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I bet. And indulge me another time machine moment. Being on set when you and Robert Davi found that perfect chemistry with Her Majesty Anne Ramsey. Give me a favorite memory of your time with her.
Oh, my favorite time is the fights, the real fights that we had. I've come to the conclusion that all movies are documentaries. It's like we're all subjecting our own life models, depending on who wrote it, who produces it, who directs it, how these ideas are boiled up and they come out. But I think that what Dick Donner and Steven Spielberg liked is the banter between Robert and I, and they would just see what we did off stage and put it on in front of a camera. But we had gone out. There were two units. There was the Spielberg unit, second unit, and then there was the first unit with Davi. With Dick Donner. And Davi and I and Annie had gone sightseeing around Astoria, Oregon. And I was convinced that we weren't going to work that day because I didn't see the second unit call sheet. I only saw the first unit call sheet, and we were on hold. And because of that, when they finally did call us, by the time we got back, they had lost the light, and we had held them up, and Davi and I were arguing all the way back on our way to the set. He got pulled over by a cop for speeding, and I told the cop to give him the ticket because he was pulling the Warner Brothers card. And Ramsey, Annie was screaming at us in front. All this was going on in front of the cop. It was hysterical.
They sound like wonderful memories. Nearly 50 years of memories for you in the industry, isn't it? It's 73.
It is.
Roadhouse, I think, was the first movie. I've done my research, so it's an extraordinary career. You're a proud grandfather. Suddenly one of the grandkids starts gravitating towards the art and craft of acting, imagining a career like their nonna. With 50 years under your belt, what are the first words of advice you give them?
Are you fucking crazy? Yeah. I wanted to be on camera. Oh yeah, I'll tell that to anybody who'll listen. I want him to be on camera, talking heads, opinion heads. That's where the real money is now.
Sure. Look, it's been just such a joy talking to you. I've been a huge fan. I fought hard to get this interview, and I want to thank the team down here in Australia for setting up. From the Vine is in Australian cinemas from June 17. It's been an absolute joy talking to you, Joe Pantoliano. Thank you for joining us on Screen Watching.
Thank you so much. Are you in Sydney or?
I am. Yeah, I'm in Sydney. Yeah, we're based in Sydney. You were down here for Matrix, weren't you? That was your time in Australia. Yeah.
Yes. And that was what, 2000? Let's see. That was
late 90s.
1999.
Yeah. Do you remember?
98. It was 1998.
Yeah.
I had a great time. I had a great time. Rachel Ward, Brian Brown, they adopted me and introduced me to all their friends. I got to meet all the great Australian people and the Sydney folks, and my wife and kids. We had a blast.
I was very fortunate just a few weeks back to spend the whole day with Brian Brown, Bruce Beresford, Jack Thompson recording audio commentary for Breaker Moran. They're releasing a remix of that.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic.
So that
I met everybody you mentioned. I met through Brian and Rachel.
Wonderful
know.
time. All right, mate. Listen, thank you so much. I'll let you get back to your brief sort of sunny day there, and look after those dogs. Take care.
Okay, cheers.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye-bye.